What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, man? It's your boy Jay Howard, aka the official Georgia boy, and you're now tuned in to another episode of Fan of Atlanta 365, man. Once first, if you're new here, don't forget to tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell your snake, tell your rat, and throw in your paper bag if you have one. Hey, I just want to say, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, man. Like, share, comment if you got something to say, because your boy always coming back. So I just want to come, give you guys some quick substance, some quick video. I know I didn't get to give you guys my post game analysis, so I will do that today on the Atlanta Falcons and at the Buffalo Bills game, and then we're gonna dive deep into into the Atlanta Falcons versus those paper bad boys, man. We're gonna go ahead and get on to this rivalry, the Atlanta Falcons versus New Orleans AINTS. And I said the New Orleans AINTS because the S is silent. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna go ahead and jump into this video. It's gonna be quick. If I get some comments, I'll respond to your comments. But I don't want to, I don't want to prolong this as long as it need to be. What I plan to do this week is give you guys some content, try to give it to you for most days this week, just leading up into this rivalry game. We all know how big this game is, so I just wanted to come on, and give you guys some content. So let's go ahead and get right into it, man. The first thing I want to talk about is the Atlanta Falcons at the Buffalo Bills game. Kind of give you guys my synopsis of what I saw during the game. So let's go over these stats, before we get into my analysis. So when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, Matt Ryan threw 13 out of 23 completions, 13 completions for 197 yards, threw 0 touchdowns. Could have had a rushing touchdown, but it got called back, and was sacked 5 times. Mike Davis, who ran hard, eight carries, 42 yards, 1 touchdown. Cordero Patterson, who didn't have a great game, rushed for 9 times for 28 yards, 0 touchdowns. Russell Gage, 3 receptions for 50 yards. Parker Hesse, one of the tight ends that we called out the practice squad, came in, and gave us some good production. I mean, even though he only, had 3 receptions for 31 yards, but he made some key. He had some key moments. You know what I'm saying? So that 31 yards was huge during this game. And then you had Kyle Pitts to go over 1,000 yards with 2 receptions for 69 yards. He did go out with an injury in the second half, so it kind of hindered his efforts to get more. Then when you switch over to the defensive side of the ball, Foye Oluokun, 7 tackles, 1 interception, a key interception right after halftime, had just started. And then you had Dion Jones, 6 tackles, 0 interceptions, but he was a tackling machine. AJ Terrell, 6 tackles, 1 interception, made a key interception. And then Deron Harmon, 3 tackles, 1 interception in the end zone to stop the Buffalo Bills from scoring. So, all in all, the Falcons played pretty good, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that, a little later. Let's go over the Buffalo Bills offense. Josh Allen, 11 for 26, 120 yards. He didn't have a good game passing the ball, but at the end of the day, the Falcons, we'll get to that a little later. 0 passing touchdowns, but he did have 2 rushing touchdowns, which were huge touchdowns. We got Yusuka Knight. What's going on, man? What's going on? He said the best is yet to come with Kyle Pitts, and the Falcons needs to get a number 1 receiver to take the attention off of him. Yes, we definitely got to get a number 1 receiver. We're going to get into a little draft talk, a little offseason talk when that time gets here. But one receiver I would love to see the Atlanta Falcons bring in here is George Pickens out of Georgia. I feel like he can be a receiver that, that can get open. I don't think we need a star receiver. We just need a receiver that can make plays when needed. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe Calvin Ridley can come back and give us some production, or maybe we may lose Calvin Ridley. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but maybe we can find that complementary to Calvin Ridley if he decides to come back next year. I think George Pickens would be a great pick. The guy out of Alabama, I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Williams. I would love to see him, maybe him in the Atlanta Falcons uniform. And then you got Kyle Pitts who can still play that tight end position. You know what I'm saying? So we don't need a star receiver like we think we do. We just need somebody who can be a complementary asset to Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts if Calvin Ridley is going to stay on this team. Now, if Calvin Ridley not going to be on this team, then I think you need to go ahead and look for your next star receiver, your next number one. But until then, I think, we need to just focus on somebody who can get open, who don't mind going across the middle, making some tough catches. And I think I think we'll be good. But let's get back to this Buffalo Bills game. Like I said, Josh Allen, zero passing touchdowns, but he did have 2 rushing touchdowns, and he threw 3 interceptions. So he didn't have the best game, but it was pretty solid enough to win this game. Then their leading rusher, Devin Singletary, rushed 23 times, had 23 carries for 110 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, he had a good day. And Stephon Diggs, was kind of held. He was kind of held in check. He did make some key catches, but he was pretty much all in all held in check by AJ Terrell. AJ Terrell did a good job, making him limiting him to 5 receptions for 52 yards, 0 touchdowns. So all in all, the Falcons overall played a good game. Unfortunately, they didn't come out with the win. In Buffalo, it was a cold game, snowing. I mean, they played physical. To me, they played physical. They played the best that they could. Not the best that they could, but they definitely played pretty good. And, we had a few things that we should have capitalized on, which we'll get to that right now. When you look at the defensive side of the ball for the Atlanta Falcons, some things that stood out to me. We could not stop Devin Singletary. Excuse me. We could not stop Devin Singletary. He was killing us. You know what I'm saying? We on key downs, we could not make the tackle. Before we even touch him, he already got 5 yards rushing before we even get to him. And that speaks volumes to his offensive line and also our ability to stop the run. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely scorched us. He played a solid game, two rushing touchdowns. I mean, you can't beat it. So we couldn't stop Devin Singletary. And then you look at also around about the second half, mainly late third quarter, early fourth quarter is when our defense got exhausted. But, you can kind of see why they got exhausted when you keep putting them on the field after they done made a play. The offense come on the field and can't do anything. Of course, the defense is going to be, worn out, especially with Josh having to worry about Josh Allen, who's a big running quarterback, a big quarterback who you have to tackle. And then you still have to worry about so much stuff and it's cold at the same time. So I don't blame the defense for getting exhausted, but you did see them get exhausted towards the end of the third, going into the fourth quarter, where it's like they couldn't get off blocks. Singletary was just, running straight up the middle, running up the side, whatever he wanted to do, he was doing it. So that was something that stood out to me with the defense. But they did make 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions. Deron Harmon got the interception in the end zone that hindered the Buffalo Bills from getting into the end zone. AJ Terrell makes a pick in the zone coverage. He sat on the route and he made the pick. And then also Foye Oluokun, beginning the third quarter, first drive, get the interception. So that was great. The Atlanta Falcons defense, you can see us getting a little better. The defense has started to get a little better where they're capitalizing on opportunities to make turnovers. It's just the offense, but we'll get to that a little later. But the offense got to help them out. You know what I'm saying? We probably could have won that game if we capitalized on those 2 picks. That's just my opinion. Yusuka Knight said it was a rough season, but I'm still proud of this team and coaching staff for dealing with what they had to deal with this season can only go up from here. Yes, I definitely agree. The Falcons, yes, they underplayed to our expectations, but at the same time, as the weeks went by, you saw the team, improving, and I definitely see us having that same momentum going into the next season, especially with Arthur Smith and Dean Pease, having another offseason to kind of bring in, their players and weed and seed out the players that Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff kind of overpaid to the point where we were stuck with them. So I definitely see the team improving. Against the Buffalo Bills going into this game, nobody expected us to win. I didn't even expect us to win, but we played a great game to the point where it could have went another way. It definitely could have went another way. So I can't be mad at the team. And we played good against a good team. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely played great. Yeah, he said agreed. Yeah, so let's get back to some of the things I saw from the defensive side of the ball. Like I said, we made turnovers. That was good. For the past few weeks, we've been getting our turnovers. We just can't capitalize. And last on the defense that I saw that I hate every time is Dante Fowler Jr. I mean, we got to get rid of this guy, man. He's not doing anything. He's trying to fly, in the air like he's a flying squirrel at the quarterback. There was one time, the time that Deron Harmon did pick the ball off, it did save him, but Dante Fowler Jr. whiffed on a sack that he could have had against Josh Allen. I don't know what he's doing out there. I mean, he's just getting beat, man. He's just not what we thought he was going to be when we brought him in. And then even after last season where he tried to blame his injury, him not being healthy, he come back supposedly fully healthy this year. According to him, he's fully healthy. Let's see how he's going to do in this new defense. And still, we get the same Dante Fowler Jr. Nothing. So Dante Fowler Jr. definitely, he had a horrible game. Just couldn't make tackles, couldn't capitalize on sacks, and he just embarrassed himself, in my opinion. So that's from the defensive side of the ball. When you switch over to the offensive side of the ball, one thing that definitely stood out to me, we could not capitalize on the turnovers that the defense was getting us. Yusuka Knight said should be an interesting offseason, and the Falcons need to get some more pass rushers. Definitely, that's one of the main things. And and I hate to keep talking about pass rush because for the past few years, when you go into after John Abraham, I mean, even when Vic Beasley had his one good year, we have been looking for a pass rush every year. I mean, we got to find one. We haven't been able to hit yet. We go after Ted McKinley. We go after Vic Beasley. You bring in all these guys, and nobody's able to get pressure on the quarterback. So we gotta do something better this offseason. Now, I do think that Dean Pease and Arthur Smith will bring in a guy because they pretty much could have. I think they have found a guy. He's on our roster. Ojundeji. I think one day in the future, once he develops, I think he will be a good pass rusher on this team. I'm not saying he's going to be elite, but I definitely think that if they develop him the right way, I think he can be solid. But we definitely do have to find a pass rush in this defense because, to tell you the truth, that's really the downfall of our defense every year. We cannot develop a pass rush. We can't get pressure on any quarterbacks. We definitely don't get sacks. So it just makes us we leave games with 0 sacks. Barely even getting any pressures. If we do get pressures, it's because we had to send in an all-out blitz we had to dial up a blitz just to get some pressure. That's not gonna win in the NFL. Yusuf Knight said should be I'm sorry, I already read that. So yeah, I thank you for your comment, Yusuka. So like I said, we could not capitalize on any turnovers. We get out there, Deron Harmon did save a touchdown. We get the ball on the 20-yard line. I think we ended that drive maybe with a field goal. I think we punted, and then we end up getting the safety, the first points through the safety after the guy muffed the punt. But other than that, we never capitalized off these turnovers. When AJ Terrell picked it off, I mean, he gave us good field position. We still get 0. I think that's when Matt Ryan fumbled. And then 4-year little coin go out there, give us good field position, still can't get anything. So I think Matt Ryan did get the touchdown. He would have had the touchdown, but his knee was down, and then he turned it, and then it put us back 15 more yards, and we still couldn't capitalize on that. Yusuka Knight said the Falcons have to get it right in the draft from now on out. Yes, but at the same time, the Falcons haven't had bad drafts. When you look at our drafts, even going back to the Thomas Dimitroff days before Dan Quinn and then during Dan Quinn, you can't really say the Falcons haven't drafted good talent. It's just that we suck in certain positions bringing in talent. Because, I mean, you draft Julio Jones, Matt Ryan. When we talking about early when the Falcons team started to pick up, you draft Matt Ryan, you draft Harry Douglas. What was the offensive lineman name? Joe Hawley, I think his name was. Sam Baker. Well, Sam Baker really didn't turn out that well. But when you look at our drafts over the years, we've been drafting solid talent. I think what we have struggled on is developing a lot of this talent. Like John Cominsky. John Cominsky never got developed. Who else never got developed to the point where I felt like they could have worked out for us? It's been a couple in our history that never really got developed. But when you look at our draft history, we have made some solid picks. That's still on this team. That's still stars on our team. Important players on our team. So I can't say that we've been having bad drafts. I think what we lack at is being able to bring in a solid pass rusher, and also being able to having the ability to draft at the safety position. I think we have kind of sucked at that. When you look at Ricardo Allen, yes, he became a free safety, but he started off at cornerback. Keanu Neal was solid, but he didn't have the best coverage skills. He was a thumper, but he was pretty good. William Moore was pretty good, and he was good. And Thomas DeCool. But other than that, we really haven't had any safeties. Now, I do like Jalen Hawkins. I really love to see him develop. And I would love to see Richie Grant develop. But other than that, we just been sucking at drafting certain positions. But we also been horrible at bringing in the right free agents in certain positions, i.e. pass rush. Like I said, the safety position. Now, I do love Deron Harmon. I think he's solid. I'm not saying he's great, but he's definitely solid, which I feel like the Falcons should bring him back next year just to give us that veteran leadership, especially at that position. We won't have any veterans. We'll only have younger players. So Eric Harris and Deron Harmon are our veterans. But Eric Harris, we already seen what he did, so I don't anticipate him coming back. But I do like what Deron Harmon has been able to bring to this team on and off the field. Yusuka Knight said, and stop giving out bad contracts to people that don't deserve it. That's another thing. Bad contracts and bad restructured contracts. That's what got us in the hole we're in now. The Falcons have always went out here and got guys that played well on other teams, i.e. Steven Jackson. You know what I'm saying? We thought we had high hopes for him. He came in, just took money from the Atlanta Falcons. Then you come in and bring in Todd Gurley. He did the same thing, came in and just stole money. And then now Mike Davis, I'm not going to say he stole money, but we did have high expectations for him. Even though Mike Davis really didn't have a solid career, when you look at Steven Jackson and you look at Todd Gurley, he didn't really have that kind of career, but he did have a solid career where it was like, okay, we anticipated him, being that guy that we never had before. But, restructuring contracts, Thomas Dimitroff and Dan Quinn did a lot of that. Now it's at the point we have to pay these guys, but we're struggling because we anticipated we was going to have a Super Bowl. And when we lost that Super Bowl, that pretty much made the restructuring of contracts look bad, because a lot of times when you restructure contracts, it's because you feel like, hey, we're in position to win. We just need a few more pieces. So let's put some of your money on the back end. We're still gonna pay you, but just on the back end, so that we can kind of create some cap space to bring in some solid players to help us get over the hump to win the Super Bowl, and we couldn't do that. And so now it's time to pay, and we have no money to bring in nobody or also re-sign some of the guys that we need to be key players. So that's one thing, but I definitely agree with you. We have to do better by bringing in solid talent in the draft, developing talent, and also better contracts. We definitely have to get better with that. And I definitely think we can with a new GM, Terry Fontenot. He was with the New Orleans AINTS. I call him the AINTS because it's silent. He was with the New Orleans AINTS during the time when they were struggling to bring in cap, but they was also still being a competitive team every year in the playoffs, winning the division, having a chance to make it to the Super Bowl, but at the same time, with giving the cap, he was still able to bring in a solid team. Even with the New Orleans AINTS right now, when you look at this team right now, having this up and down season, still have a chance to make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And that's with them having a so-called down season. No Drew Brees. Jameis Winston goes down. Taysom Hill's in and out. Bring in Trevor Siemian. He goes out. And then end up having to play a game with Ian Book. They still are in position to get into the playoffs. The Falcons have been missing the playoffs for the last 4 years, and they have a worse cap than we have. So how have they been able to bring in talent? Well, that showed you how Terry Fontenot, where he came from. And so I believe that he's competent enough to make sure that we bring in a solid talent. Given another year, another offseason, you're definitely going to see the effects of this new regime, in my opinion. So, so definitely thank you for your comment. What did I leave off at? Yes. Another thing, the offensive line has to get better. Matt Ryan was sacked 5 times. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he has to run for his life, it seems like, on every play. At first, y'all started off pretty good blocking. Mike Davis able to find holes, and get through there. But then we started, I just don't know what happened. It's like we gave up. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely have to be better as an offensive line. And I felt like that's one of the other reasons that caused us to lose that game. It also came, equated into a turnover, which ended up going into a touchdown when Matt Ryan was forced, they forced Matt Ryan to fumble due to the offensive line not being able to block for this man. So that's another thing that stood out for me. Mike Davis ran hard. I mean, Mike Davis I told y'all before the game, I said, I want to see a solid running game. We don't need nobody to go over 100 yards, but we need to have a solid running game just to keep the Buffalo Bills on their toes. And I think Mike Davis was that guy. I also said I wanted to see all of our running backs, and I think you kind of seen all the running backs, even though Mike Davis was the most productive. Quadre Olison got in the game. Cordero Patterson really didn't have a good game, but he at least got some carries. I think I want to say we saw Wayne Gallman, but even if I did, I saw 3 different running backs. But Mike Davis was that guy. Yusuka Knight said, can't wait to see what Terry and Arthur Smith and Dean can do with the team when they get the guys they want for this team. Yes, you already see a difference. They took the same team that Dan Quinn had last year and got almost 8 wins. We could have a chance at 8 wins this week. You know what I'm saying? They won in the division. Won 2 games in the division. We did lose 3 so far with a potential. Maybe we can win. Maybe we can win 3. But at the same time, you saw the progression that this team made week in and week out. And you saw the progression. I think it was all about progression this year. Learning the new system, bringing in a few players. One thing that definitely stood out to me about this new regime as well. You cannot underestimate the moves that they made within the season. Bringing in Anthony Rush, Mike Pennell, I think Jonathan Bullock was in the offseason. Who else did they bring in? Sean Wick, bringing in some guys, during the season when other guys went down, they replaced them with solid talent. So you can't forget that they were actually making moves during the season to make sure, bringing in Wayne Gallman as well. So I think the competency level of this new regime is already starting to show. We just need one more off season to really evaluate these guys to show you that they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and to do this with pretty much no cap, to be able to bring in a guy like Cordero Patterson. You know what I'm saying? Mike Davis. Like I said, Anthony Rush and Mike Pennell has been pretty solid at that defensive tackle position. And then when you look at the draft picks, Avery Williams looks like he's going to be a good return man for us. Um, um, what's his name? Ojun Deji. He looks like maybe one day when he finally develops, he can probably be a solid pass rusher. You know what I'm saying? So Jalen Mayfield looks like he can be solid. He just needs to continue to get better and develop. But at the same time, when you look at he played this whole season at a position that he wasn't even drafted to play. He was drafted to play the right tackle position. He comes in to play left guard position. After that first game embarrassment that he had, ever since then he got better. Yeah, he did have moments where he regressed, but at the same time he was solid all season. So you can't really be mad at that. He said, and I love they are running the ball more. Yes, running game is starting to get a little better. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely look forward to seeing us get better even next year. I think we should bring in another guy because I don't think CP is starting to show his regression. I'm not saying that he's going to be sorry, but he's definitely starting to be worn down, and rightfully so. When we was overusing him during the first part of the season, but at the same time, he's starting to slow down a little bit more. But I definitely feel like he deserves to be back on this team next year. It's just that this year he's starting. You could definitely see he's starting to be worn down. He said, "Do you see CP coming back next year?" Yes, I definitely see CP coming back next year, just not for the money that we thought he was going to get if you looked at him in the beginning of the season. Now, I definitely think he's going to get a solid contract, but he's not going to get the length that I think people are looking forward to. And I think he's going to play a solid role for us next year, just not as big as he played for us this year. Because I definitely think we're going to bring in better talent. And Kyle Pitts looks like he's starting to get comfortable in the NFL. And then also we don't know what Calvin really is going to do for us next year. Is he going to be on this team? So that it's a lot of ifs, but I definitely think CP will be back next year. He said, agreed, the Falcons need some more running backs. Yes, now I do like Caleb Huntley. I would love to see them develop Caleb Huntley. I had said Caleb Huntley was going to be my black horse. This under the radar type player that's going to come out and do his thing. And he did his thing in the preseason. Unfortunately, due to the roster, I think he didn't make the team, but I think he's still on the practice squad. So hopefully, we'll be able to retain him and develop him. I definitely think he could be a solid running back for the Atlanta Falcons. But you definitely need to look into this draft, maybe to bring in a solid running back. I like Zaire White out of Georgia. I like the guy out of Michigan, the running back out of Michigan, even though Georgia, held him down, but he's a solid run between the tackles type running back who I look to see the Falcons bring in. So, but yeah, we definitely got to get some more talent at that running back position, especially if you're gonna have a running back by committee type, group. I would love to see us go get a solid running back. Yeah, so like I said, Mike Davis was running hard. He was the guy that he was the best running back for us that day, and he kept us not becoming one dimensional. So that was one of my keys to the dub. If you saw that video. Next, Kyle Pitts goes over 1,000 yards. Ended the game I think with 69 yards receiving yards, 2 receptions, a solid day. Well, a solid reception. One when he went long. But at the same time, he did get injured. I think it was like in the third quarter where he never returned back to the game. He did kind of return back, but then you saw him hobbling on the field, and so they just end up, shutting him down. Which I don't anticipate him playing this next game. He could, depending on how he is as far as health. but at the same time, you have to preserve him for next year because he's going to be your future. So you want to make sure that you do him, you do right by him. And this game is important. We will get to this game. It is important, but at the same time, if it's going to risk your tight end, you don't need to play him. You know what I'm saying? So he also Yusuke Knight said, and they have to address the offensive line some more. Yes, we definitely have to. Jake Matthews is getting older, even though Jake Matthews is still solid. Jalen Mayfield showed that he can compete for that left guard position. The center position is up for grabs, even though Matt Hennessy, he's maintained it, but at the same time, it's still up for grabs. I'm not comfortable. It's not solidified at that center position. The right guard position, of course, Chris Lindstrom, he's the guy, and then the right tackle position, Caleb McGarry, he has his moments, but then he also shows sometimes where he hasn't solidified that position yet. So I definitely feel like you need to go look at a center, look at that right tackle position, and maybe even that left guard position if Jalen Mayfield doesn't get, he needs to find somebody to compete against, because he haven't solidified it yet. So I definitely agree. He said, I don't think Cal will play next week. Yeah, it's like I said, it's up for grabs. If he's not good, going into this week, I think you just need to go ahead and sit him and save him for next year for the future, because you put a 4th round draft pick on him, spent a lot of money on him. I think most of his contract is guaranteed. So you need this guy to be fully healthy next year. Ain't no point of playing him for a pointless game. Now, it is the New Orleans Aints. We all know that, but at the same time, Kyle Pitts is more valuable in the future than this game. So I think he needs to just go ahead and sit out if he's not healthy. But yes, Kyle Pitts had a great game. And last but not least, Matt Ryan had a solid game, even though his offensive line failed him. All in all, Matt Ryan did his best. I mean, when you look at that rushing touchdown, it showed that intensity that Matt Ryan has, that passion that Matt Ryan has. Unfortunately, his knee went down, even though I still felt like it should have been called a touchdown, even though his knee went down. Well, maybe not a touchdown, but it definitely should have been on the 1 yard line. The penalty should have actually offset due to Matt Ryan being hit after he gave himself up. And also, with the time, I think the penalty should have been offset where we was up right on the goal line, probably would have punched it in. Marik Gollet, I hope I didn't butcher your name, said even though the Falcons are eliminated from the playoffs, I hope the Falcons beat this. I can't get that S out. The Aints. Yes. We all know that. We all know that the Falcons have to beat the Aints. I don't care if we went 0-16. We at least need to win 2 games against the Aints, because that's the big game. That's bragging rights. You know what I'm saying? That's momentum going into the next season. If you can sweep the Aints, that would be huge. So yes, the Falcons definitely need to beat the Aints. That's every year we want to beat the Aints. There's no secret to that. Yusuke Knight said, I saw that too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So, but thank you, Merritt Garlett, for your comment. Hopefully, if you're new here, man, definitely hit that subscribe button. If anybody's new here, definitely hit that subscribe button for your boy, Fan of Atlanta 365, man. It's your boy Jay Howard, aka the official Georgia boy. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Share, like, comment if you got something to say, because your boy always coming back. So yeah. So that was my analysis on the Buffalo Bills and Atlanta Falcons game. It was all in all, I think the Falcons played solid. They showed me that they have fight, which we needed to see that. Also, it showed me that next year we're gonna be a team that teams aren't gonna really want to see, especially if the Falcons can go out here and make some solid moves, which I definitely think they can. But I definitely think next year we'll be back. We'll be better next year. So shout out to the Atlanta Falcons playing a great game in the snow. A lot of people counted us out that game, and we had a chance to win that game. You know what I'm saying? It just came down to penalties, turnover, well, not capitalizing on turnovers, and just not being able to, getting worn down, not being able to stop Devin Singletary. So pretty much, but solid game, man. Solid game. So let's get to the last thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's the big thing that we all got to talk about. The biggest thing we all been waiting on is the Atlanta Falcons versus the New Orleans Aints, because the S is silent. So this is gonna be a big game this weekend. Big game. All the Atlanta Falcon fans, all the New Orleans Aints fans are gonna be all eyes gonna be on this game for us. So it's gonna be a huge game. Yusuka Knight said that's 2 times this year that the Falcons had a touchdown called back. Yes, 2 times. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. At the end of the day, we have to do a better job. It's not allowing this to be the reason why we can, win games or, capitalize on opportunities. We have to play more. We have to play 4 quarters. A lot of times we tend to play towards the end, or we'll start off hot and can't finish. But the Falcons have shown that they can finish this year now. That's one thing they have shown that we didn't have last year. We can finish games when they come down to the end. And also we play hard. We do play hard. We did play hard in a lot of these games all the way into the end. It's just that I want to see the Falcons be more consistent and stop playing down to competition. A lot of times we do play down to competition, which made us lose against the Washington football team. We had close battles with the Jets and the Giants, teams that shouldn't even have been able to compete with us, the Lions. You know what I'm saying? So all in all, the Falcons did have I saw something in the Falcons this year, but I definitely want to see us be more solid next year. He said agreed. Yes. So let's get to this New Orleans Aints game. I don't really want to talk about the game yet. Of course, y'all know I will be doing my video leading up into the game where I give you guys my keys to the dub and all that good stuff. But today what I want to talk about is the history between the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Aints. Just talk about some facts about both teams. Learn something about these teams. So let's start off with the New Orleans Aints, because the S is silent, as you guys remember. The New Orleans Aints was founded in 1967. I'm sorry. Yes, 1967. They was founded in 1967. Were a part of the Eastern Conference. I'm guessing they wasn't in the NFL at this time. They were in the Eastern Conference from 67 to 69. And then they was in the Capital Division from 67 to 69, which I'm guessing that was in the Eastern Conference. And then they joined the Century Division in 68. Then they finally got into the NFC, the National Football Conference, from 1970 all the way into present. So since they've been in the NFL, they have been in the NFC. They started off in the NFC West, just like the Atlanta Falcons, but they started in 1970 all the way. In 1970 all the way into 2020. 2001. Why did I say 2020? They've been a part of the NFC West from 70 to 2001. And then they joined the NFC South, just like the Falcons, from 2002 all the way into present. So ever since the New Orleans Aints and the Falcons been in the NFL, they have been in the same division. So they have played each other numerous of times. We hate each other, and this hate has started since probably the 1970s when they finally joined the NFL. They, of course, did win one Super Bowl in 2009, led by Drew Brees. They've been the conference champs one time, which was in 2009, and they won they were division champs in the NFC West. They won in 91 and 2000, so they won 2 division championships in the West, and then in the NFC South they won 7 in 2006, 2009, 2011, 2017, 18, 19, and 20. So for the past, 5 years, 4 to 5 years, from 2017, they have won the division. You know what I'm saying? And this division have never been won like that since before the New Orleans Aints did that. Being able to win this division 4 years in a row. It always fluctuated. It always was the Falcons one year, then maybe the Carolina Panthers, and then maybe the Bucks, and then the Aints. You know what I'm saying? So it has always been a up and down type division. And then the New Orleans Aints did win 4 years in a row from 2017 to 2020. And then for the past 2 years, this year, we know the Buccaneers did win this division. But at the same time, New Orleans Aints, have won this division 7 times. Made 14 playoff appearances. Probably most of that came from the Drew Brees era. We all know what Drew Brees was able to do for this organization. When you look at some of their Hall of Famers, they got a linebacker named Ricky Jackson, who was inducted in 2010. Offensive tackle Willie Roof, whatever like that, in 2012. And kicker, which is also the Atlanta Falcons legend, Morton Anderson, who went in 2017. So I don't know if he went in as a Falcon or if he went in as a New Orleans Aints. I think he went in as a New Orleans Aints player. I don't know. He could have went both ways because he did a lot for the Atlanta Falcons as well. But those are their Hall of Famers. When you look at the Ring of Honor, they have quarterback Archie Manning. He went in 2013. Linebacker Ricky Jackson, who went into the Hall of Fame, went in 2013. Offensive tackle Willie Roaf, another one, went in 2013. Kicker Morton Anderson went in 2017. The late great owner Tom Benson went in 2019. Defensive end Will Smith went in 2019 as well. And the linebacker Sam Mills went in this year as a New Orleans Aints Ring of Honor. So, all in all, good history. You know what I'm saying? Good history for the New Orleans Aints. But at the same time, I don't like you guys. I just want y'all to know that I don't like y'all. I don't like y'all colors. I don't like y'all who that chant. I don't like your fans. I don't like your city. I ain't gonna say I don't like your city because your city is pretty dope. With the beignets, the Bourbon Street, the French quarters, all drinks for cheap, your Cajun food. I do like what your city can give me if I want to take a vacation there. But at the same time, all in all, I just don't like y'all. Y'all rub me the wrong way. You make me itch. So at the end of the day, y'all know the hate I have for you guys. But it's a love-hate relationship. I love you guys because you are from the South. You are a city that I do enjoy being in. But at the same time, when it comes to this NFL football, we don't like each other. Y'all know that. So don't it ain't no love lost. It's no love lost when we play each other. So let's switch over to the Atlanta Falcons. Our history. We were founded in 1966. And when you look at our conference and divisions, we entered in the Eastern Conference. I'm guessing this is in the AFL. If we was a part of the AFL, we joined in '66 the Eastern Conference, so we only played that 1 year. We were also in the Western Conference, which don't make sense to me. I'm like, how are we in the West? You know what I'm saying? But okay, it is what it is. We was in the Western Conference from 67 to 69. Then we joined the Coastal Division in 1967 to 1969 as well. I'm guessing we was a part of the Western Conference, but we was in the Coastal Division. Then we joined the NFC from 1970, which is the same year that New Orleans Aints joined, all the way into now. We started off like the New Orleans Aints in the NFC West from 1970 to 2001. And then we finally joined the NFC South, which is from 2002 until the present time. So that's a little history facts. When you look at our NFC championships, we got two. One in '98, which we went to the Super Bowl with the Dirty Birds, and 2016, which Matt Ryan MVP season, where we was up against the New England Patriots, 28-3. And we all know what happened. One of those things we just never been able to live down yet. We won the NFC South 4 times in 2004, 2010, 2012, and 2016. I definitely felt like in 2012 we should have won. We should have won that Super Bowl. I think that was the one. We should have went to that Super Bowl. I think that was the one with the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers, which the San Francisco 49ers got away with a holding call on Roddy White that could have won that game for us to punch our ticket to the Super Bowl to go against the Baltimore Ravens. But the the San Francisco 49ers won that game, ended up winning that game, and then went to the Super Bowl, which they lost the same way they beat us. So pretty much, we probably should have that Super Bowl as appearance as well. Maybe we could have won it. I don't know. Who knows? But that was a solid team in 2012. Then we won the NFC West, which we was a part of that division in 1980 and 1998. So, we did win our division 6 times in our history, 4 times in the NFC South. We have 14 playoff appearances, 2 Super Bowl appearances, but 2 Super Bowl losses, which, we really supposed to have one, right? At least one. We really supposed to have one. Thanks, Kyle Shanahan, Dan Quinn. Defense can't make at least one stop. You know what I'm saying? We up 28-3. You can't make stops. And then everybody want to put the blame on Matt Ryan, which you can't put the blame on Matt Ryan. Yusuka Knight said, I was 10 years old at the time when the Falcons joined the NFC South. Yeah, I was. How old was I? In 2000 and what? When did they join? 2002. I was born in 89, so I was probably about maybe 13, something like that. Maybe my math is off. Maybe I think I was 13, maybe 12 or 13. So, I never even knew they was a part of a whole nother division. I never knew that. You know what I'm saying? So it's good we're doing this video so we can all learn about our history as the Atlanta Falcons, and hopefully the New Orleans Aints can learn their history. I don't care about their history, but at the same time, because we're playing them, because this is one of the biggest rivalries in football, I gotta learn about them, I guess, at least. So yes, out of those 14 appearances, because y'all like to talk about Matt Ryan, out of those 14 appearances, Matt Ryan accounts for 6 of those. 6 playoff appearances by Matt Ryan. One of those Super Bowl appearances by Matt Ryan. He did win an MVP as well. So need to put some respect on Matt Ryan's name. He leads the franchise in passing yards, probably even passing touchdowns as well. So all in all, he done probably broke every record as far as quarterbacks for the franchise. But I digress on that. When you look at the Hall of Famers of the Atlanta Falcons, of course you got the great cornerback, greatest of all time when it comes to cornerback, Dion Sanders. You know what I'm saying? Or Dion Sanders, however they used to say it. I wasn't alert. I wasn't, I guess, an alert football fan to watch Deion Sanders play when he played with the Atlanta Falcons. But, we all know how great he was and how he put the Atlanta Falcons on the map when it came to like stardom and all celebrities and all that good stuff, and what he brought to the game. Arguably, probably not even arguably, we already know what it is. You shouldn't even be able to argue this, but Deion Sanders, the greatest cornerback of all time, and probably second best when it comes to return, because Devin Hester did overtake him, but he was a great returner as well. Then you had the late great defensive end Clark Humphreys. He went in 2014, and then of course, like I stated before, you did have the kicker Morton Anderson, who could have went in as a Falcon, probably did go in as a New Orleans Aints because he did play most of his career with the New Orleans Aints. I think he played maybe 5 or 6 years with the Atlanta Falcons. But we all know what he brought to the Falcons history. I think he leads the Falcons in points scored, in our history as a kicker. That's huge. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely did some great things for the Atlanta Falcons. Yusuka Knight said, the Falcons are due for a Super Bowl championship. They already been to 2 in my lifetime. Yes, they definitely, and they should have one. We all know they should have one, but Kyle Shanahan, he screwed us over. The defensive line, the defense screwed us over, and Dan Quinn screwed us over. And a lot of people like to blame Matt Ryan, but it's not Matt Ryan's fault. You shouldn't have been throwing in that situation anyway. But I digress on that. And then you can count tight end Tony Gonzalez, even though he went in as a Kansas City Chief, but he did want to go in as an Atlanta Falcon. But he spent most of his career in the Kansas City Chiefs. But he had his best career yard stats in Atlanta. So it's kind of one of those toss-ups as well. I recognize him as an Atlanta Falcon Hall of Famer and slash Kansas City, just like I recognize Morton Anderson as a New Orleans Aints Hall of Famer slash Atlanta Falcons Hall of Famer. So that those are our Hall of Famers. Of course, we probably gonna have Julio Jones gonna go in there. Who else may go in there? Matt Ryan going in there. I feel like he's gonna go in there. It's gonna be a few other I don't think anybody else probably would go in there right now that I can think offhand. Maybe Matt Bryant, you know what I'm saying? Maybe Matt Bryant. But all in all, solid, Hall of Famers. Then when you look at our Ring of Honor, we have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 Ring of Honor inductees. Of course, there's going to be some more that's going to be coming up. But we do have quarterback Steve Barkowski. Probably, some of the people may argue he's the greatest quarterback in franchise history. One of their favorite quarterbacks in franchise history. But Matt Ryan to me is the greatest. Like I said, Dion Sanders went in 2010. The great Warrick Dunn, running back, went in 2017. William Andrews, running back, went in 2004. Running back Gerald Riggs went in 2013. So the Falcons have been known for their running game. They have been known to have running backs. Maybe Jamal Anderson can go in here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he could go in here. Even though I think his career was pretty short, but he did have a run during that Dirty Bird season. So maybe he may not go in there. I don't know. But I do remember Jamal Anderson. Center Jeff Van Note went in 2006. Linebacker Jesse Tuggle, the hammer. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he always get underestimated. I think he's underrated when it comes to linebackers. One of the greatest linebackers to ever come out of Atlanta, probably was the greatest. Jesse the Hammer Tuggle went in 2004. And linebacker, the great Tommy Nobis, the late great Tommy Nobis. I think he was the first, if I'm correct, wasn't he the first draft pick or player for the Atlanta Falcons? We already know he was great, and so he was inducted in 2004. Tackle Mike Ken went in 2008. The great wide receiver Roddy White went in 2019, one of the products of Matt Ryan. And the late great, like I said, defensive end Claude Humphreys went in 2008. So we got a great Ring of Honor. I could definitely see, of course, Matt Ryan going in there. Maybe Tony Gonzalez gonna go in there. I could see, of course, Julio Jones going in there. Maybe Michael Turner, Grady Jarrett going in there. Dion Jones going in there. I feel like William Moore deserves to go in there, but if he don't, okay. I think Jonathan Babineau could be another guy that could go in there because he was pretty good his time in Atlanta. Who else? Jake Matthews can go in there one day. Trying to think who else we have. We got a lot of greats that can eventually go in there one day. And if AJ Terrell can continue to do what he's doing, he's going to be in there one day too. Yusuka Knight said yes, he was. Yeah. So so that's the history of the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Aints. But the main thing that really matters the most is how many times we have played each other and who has the winning record thus far. And the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Aints have played each other 105 times. Yeah, it looked like 105 times we have played each other, and the Falcons lead that record 54 and 51 losses. So we got 54 wins against the New Orleans Aints and 51 losses against the New Orleans Aints. And most of those losses probably came during the Drew Brees era because Drew Brees beat us a lot. I used to hate playing the New Orleans Aints when they had Drew Brees because for some reason he could just find them. He was a great quarterback. You can't deny him. Had probably almost had the best numbers if it wasn't for Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? Tom Brady just recently broke that record. But we all know what Drew Brees did for that organization. So all in all, man, this is one of the best rivalries, if not the best rivalry in NFL history. Every time we play each other, it's gonna be a game. It's gonna be a dogfight. It's gonna be a physical game. It's gonna be it could potentially turn out into a fight between the fans, or maybe the players, or maybe even the fans. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, we love each other, but we hate each other at the same time, and that hate is very deep. If you born in Atlanta and you like the New Orleans Aints, then you I don't know. You can't be a Falcon fan and like the New Orleans Aints. Just like you can't be a New Orleans Aints fan and like the Atlanta Falcons. Merrick Gallard said, I won't be surprised if Drew Brees makes the Hall of Fame as well. Oh, yeah, he's definitely making the Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's no doubt in my mind. He's a sure Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. When you look at Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, all those guys are first ballot Hall of Famers. And they all played in the same era. Even Ben Roethlisberger may be a sure Hall of Famer. Who else came in there with them? Phillip Rivers, to me, I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he's a sure Hall of Famer. If he's a Hall of Famer, then Matt Ryan definitely is a Hall of Famer. I think what's his name? Eli Manning can probably get in there. I definitely, in my book, he's a Hall of Famer just based on what he was able to do for the New York Giants, winning those 2 Super Bowls. I think that should have given him that ticket to the Hall of Fame, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. But yes, definitely, Drew Brees is definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer. He led the league in passing yards, and then Tom Brady just eventually broke that. But when you look at Tom Brady, look how long he's played compared to Drew Brees. Drew Brees probably played maybe 12 or 14, maybe 14 years, and was able to put up those kind of numbers. Those are like Dan Marino numbers. You know what I'm saying? So, he was great. Yasuka Knight said, congratulations to Warrick Dunn on being inducted into the Georgia Sports Hall of Fame. Yes, Warrick Dunn was a great, not only was he a great player, but he was a great person and still is a great person. He for years during his time, he definitely probably would have won the Walter Payton award every year based on his contributions to the community, buying single women with families houses, buying them houses, building houses, and all that good stuff. He did a lot of great things off the field and a lot of great things on the field. One thing that stands out to me with Warrick Dunn, nobody could get a clean hit on Warrick Dunn because he was just like Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith. They just knew how to contort their body where you would never get a big hit on them. It was very seldom that dudes hit them hard. And Warrick Dunn was just one of those guys. For a long time, the Atlanta Falcons was known as DVD. DVD meaning Dunn, Vick, and Duckett, T.J. Duckett. They led the league in rushing for a couple of years. So yeah, definitely, Warrick Dunn was a monster, man. Yusuka Knight said, one of my favorite players ever. Yes, Warrick Dunn. Yeah, probably not one of my favorite players ever, but definitely was one of my favorite Falcons ever. You know what I'm saying? He was a dog, man. Warrick Dunn he was also underrated as well. He's underrated. When you talk about running backs, he's definitely underrated. Warrick Dunn was a dog, man. But yeah, so that's been another episode of Fan of Atlanta 365. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you haven't already, go to YouTube right now. Subscribe to Fan of Atlanta 365, man. It's your boy Jay Howard, aka the official Georgia boy. Don't forget to tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell your snake, tell your rat, and throw in your paper bag if you have one for the New Orleans Aints fans. I'm gonna flash that on the screen one more time for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I keep saying throw in. I normally put a pet, but throw in a paper bag for them guys. The Atlanta Falcons got a good matchup this weekend. We need to win this game, so we won't have a winning season, but it will be a winning season when you can when you can sweep the New Orleans Aints. When you look at our rivalry, also, we can hinder the New Orleans Aints from making the playoffs. Now, also, I think it's San Francisco that can also hinder their efforts with the win, but they got to beat. I think they have to beat the Rams, which most likely that won't happen. So that could, if the New Orleans Aints win this game, that can probably give them that last spot in the playoffs, which we would not want to see that. I want to see the Atlanta Falcons go out here and beat the New Orleans Aints. I'd rather see Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs than the New Orleans Aints, because we'll never live that down. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's a rivalry game, so records go out the window. We already know that. It's about who's better that day. It's not about who was better all season. The Atlanta Falcons right now have the advantage going into this game, but at the same time, the New Orleans Aints, they defense, they have an elite defense. I think Taysom Hill is back, which has been one of our kryptonites. But the same, and then they still have Sean Payton. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be a good game. I expect the Atlanta Falcons to win this game. But, we'll get to the keys to the dub and all that good stuff on Saturday. Hopefully Saturday. If not Saturday, then definitely Sunday. Between Friday and Sunday, y'all should get the keys to the dub and all that good stuff. But, hey, it's been another episode of Fan of Atlanta 365, man. Thank you, everybody, for joining me, subscribing to the channel, commenting, liking, sharing, commenting on these videos. I will get back to the comments if you comment after this. But until then, man, don't forget, tell your mama, tell your dad, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your dog, tell your cat, tell your snake, tell your rat, and throw in your paper bag for the New Orleans Aints fans. It's your boy Jay Howard, a.k.a. the official Georgia boy, and it's been another episode of Fan of Atlanta 365, man. Hey, I'm out of here.